What up, y'all, and welcome to Dubai for the fifth race in the 2022 NRSL Hankook Tyres V8 Supercar Challenge. On pole is Jesse Turner for the first time this season, and Turner coming into this race 31st in the point standings, needing a good run to turn his season around. He's got road course ace Charles Sanford on his right. Row 2, you've got points leader Jonathan Zoerlein and Zach Flickinger. Zoerlein continuing his tremendous qualifying efforts so far this season. Row 3 is Seth Cole, the road course master himself, with Ace Rogers to his right. Row 4, you've got Samet Oskin and Kev Shear, both drivers of which have won on road courses in the Digital Storm Cup Series. And in row 5, we've got Alexander Rowe and Peter Onjak. Joining me in the booth once again this week is Vince Freeze.
What's up, buddy? Dubai, the Emirates backstretch is going to be firing. We've seen speeds close to 200, about 205 actually, maybe in Q trim. We'll never know, but very fast. It's very technical road course. A lot of stop and go in the first half of the track, first, second sector, and then it's just fast and flowing, third and fourth sector. Tire wear will be crucial. And, this is the second half of the season, technically, so the points championship is about to be talked about more as we enter the second half. Let's get to it.
Yes, indeed. So coming into this race, Jonathan Zoerlein with a 28-point lead over Keith Rich, who has continued to finish top 10 in every race. It's finally paid off. First top 5 on the season for him last week at Pensacola. Kev Shear, third in points, 37 back. Alexander Rowe, fourth in points, 41 back. And then Zach Flickinger, fifth in points, 51 back. We'll get to the rest of the top 10 here after we get the command to fire engines.
Drivers, start your engines!
Drivers are rolling. We got 27 laps of action. Pit stops are inbound. Thinking about halfway, 13 to 15, we'll see people pit. Sixth in points is Jessica Shelton, 52 back, as well as Samet Oskin. 54 back, William Brock. 55 back, Donovan Cage. And now 62 back is Seth Cole. Remember, the most points you can gain in a race is 59. That's if you win and your nearest competitor finishes in last. Green flag is out, and we are underway here in Dubai.
Stop and go into this 1 and 2 complex as Zoerlein's pushing the issue.
Zoerlein made it 3 wide there, but had to back out of it. Now it's Turner and Sanford side by side here down the Maya curve. They'll head into this hard right-handed. This is one of the hardest braking zones on the track. This one here, and then the final right-hander along with the front stretch left-handers. But you see so far it looks like Charles Sanford with the edge. And Charles looking like he will pull ahead and clear for the race lead. In practice, we saw speeds of up to 200 miles an hour down the straightaway, Vince, but with the sun out, they're only hitting about, I'd say, 195, 196.
Yeah, that's expected even with the trap. Now you see Sanford about to get bullied by Turner again, I think here. Might make a little prove fade action, but stays in line.
Turner right on his bumper, about bump drafting him there into the final corner. But lap 1 complete. It'll be Sanford in the race lead still, but Turner is not going anywhere. Zoerlein right there in third. Seth Cole in fourth. Sanford slides wide. That opens the door for Turner. See that green and red paint there? That stuff is very slick. If anybody goes too far through turn 1, gets into that stuff, their tires are going to be spinning like they're on ice.
One thing about Turner right now, he's understanding the weak points of Sanford. You see the braking. As you can see, the brakes a little bit deeper, but Sanford gets a better run at exit. Zoerlein goes a little wide into there.
Seth Cole putting a move on him, but unable to get it to stick. I think track position and strategy, pit strategy, is going to be a big play today. With how much draft factors in, especially with what we saw at Watkins Glen, it was pretty difficult to make moves. So I think once the tire wear starts to hit, that pit strategy game is really going to come into play here on if you lose track position, gain track position, and then how much you're going to be able to pass, defend, and all that fun stuff once we get towards the second half of the race. As always, road courses with caution flags off, as we will not have yellows for the rest of the season. We had it that 1 week at Pensacola. Seeing the top 4 pretty set in stone for now. Gonna take a little trip through the field here. You got Zach Flickinger in 5th place, Samet Oskin in 6th, Ace Rogers 7th, Kev Shearer 8th, Keith Rich 9th, still looking to continue that top 10 streak. Peter Onjak currently fending off 5th place. So we take a look outside the top 10, Vince. We've got Alexander Rowe and Dylan Young just outside of the top 10 as Rowe is putting a move on Onjak.
You mentioned Rich there. Zoerlein is looking to extend that points lead. With how this point system in and Kev Shearer at the back of the pack here today, one result could really ruin the championship, even though we've got some unpredictability left at the end of the season. Three wide ahead.
Yeah, 3 wide ahead. You see Ace there getting a bit of draft. Will stay ahead of Kev Shearer as Keith Rich stays to Kev's right side. Seeing a lot of momentum really come into play here. You really need to have that extra bit on your setup to give you the grip on someone's inside here, because these cars accelerate so fast. The wider arc can be a bit of a preferred groove if you can't get through the center of the corner faster. We're going to see Keith clear Kev here for 8th place. Now he's on the outside of Ace. Keith and Ace
slip back.
Keith and Ace have been teammates for a couple years in the Digital Storm Cup Series. That is coming to an end next year as Keith goes and drives for his father's team next year. And as you mentioned, they have Vince. Jesse Turner has slipped back to 5th place. And it's Zoerlein up to 2nd on Charles Sanford's bumper. Let's go through the rest of the field here really quick. We're probably going to have a battle for the lead here soon, as Keith will take 7th away from Ace Rogers. Shelton in 13th, Andrew Rich 14th, Sam Young 15th now over Richard Johnson. Christian Vargas, Bradley Ream, Diego Yepes, and RJ Bishop are the top 20. Allison Liera in 21st, James Ellison, Zachary Fitzwater Sr., Laura Chung, Rob Evans, the top 25. Richmond winner William Brock 26th, Baranowskis 27th, Logan York, Donovan Cage, Lucas Catano. Then Derek Hamill in 31st. As Vince Freeze is all the way back here in 32nd. It looks like we've got some skid marks here in this corner, so perhaps there was an incident on track. We will look at any and all incidents after the race is over. But as we were away, Jonathan Zoerlein has taken the race lead away from Charles Sanford.
A little wide. Oh, look at Flickinger 3 wide. Look at that aggressive move there. We saw this at the Glen between Flickinger and Zoerlein. Can we see a repeat here at Dubai?
All those runs singled them back out once again. I thought Zoerlein might have gone a little too hard into turn 1 there. I thought he was going to push out into the paint. But it looks like Zoerlein has the car to beat once again. Looking at lap times, Sanford top of the board, but his car starting to fade. Zoerlein 4th on that board. Seth Cole in 3rd. And wins is how you're going to get closer in that championship fight, Vince. Difference in points from 1st to 2nd is 10 in total, as Turner's going to put a 3 wide move here on Cole and Flickinger. Difference from 1st to 5th is 25 points. Difference from 1st to 10th is 36 points. So a lot of points to be gained or lost just inside the top 10 alone. It looks like we might have had another incident here on the front straightaway.
I think we did. And just the way I see it, man, we're starting to see Zoerlein stretch his legs a little bit. As there it is again.
Looks like it might have been Audra Baranowskis here, who's now down to 31st. That likely could have come off the bumper of Donovan Cage or one of these other drivers right here. But we're starting to see the aggression pick up here on lap 6. Drivers are getting right on each other's bumpers, and it's causing people to get turned because of it. Liera up inside the top 20 now. Almost at a second of fall off here. Probably closer to, say, 8/10 right now. Richard Johnson has lost another position to Christian Vargas for 16th. Alexander Rowe has slipped to 13th. Onjak still holding on strong in 10th, but Keith Rich now, he's all over Samet Oskin for 6th.
Look, Seth Cole might be the cork in the bottle here as Turner goes underneath for 3rd. The road course ace. I don't know, man. Maybe just because of the draft, you don't really need the skills. It's more about getting trimmed out down the straights and a little bit more mechanical grip than usual, and aero grip as well.
Well, we know Seth Cole can play the draft correctly, though, if he's got the car to go with it. We've seen him win in Digital Storm at Papyrus. He just won last week at Pensacola. He might be the road course master, but he's also got good draft insight and knows how to play that draft, but maybe just not the car to work with, as Turner fell to 5th but has rebounded back up to 3rd.
Saving of the tires, ebb and flow used the draft correctly. You see Sanford starting to get his footing again, get his sea legs back underneath him, as they say, as they go a little bit wide. Down this Emirates backstretch, Zoerlein goes.
And let's see, watch the speed here. I think they were about 95 miles an hour mid-corner there. Able to hold the grip down through this second right-hander still. And you see Zoerlein is just pulling away from Charles right now. 191 miles an hour here into the next corner.
Talking almost 100 miles per hour from the start to the end there. I think Zoerlein's better in the rights, but he's struggling a little bit into the left-handers, and I think that's where Sanford has the best strength there. I don't know the fuel window. Remind me again, but we're getting close to it, I think.
I believe it'll be 13 to 15. I think they could go 20 laps on a tank if they wanted to, but actually it might be less than that. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure it's going to be maybe 13 to 15. It might be a little shorter than that, actually. It might be more like 11 to 13, so we might see a little bit of fuel strategy come into play here.
Right. And with tire fall off being around 2.5, I think someone will pull the lap 10. I would say maybe someone pulls the undercut, get the lap 20, unless you're Audra or Vince Freed. I don't know what happened. They might have damage repair. But other than those two, everyone else is in play.
So far, no further incidents throughout the field, as Keith Rich has made it by Oskin for 6th, and now he is looking for 5th on Zach Flickinger. I said it was going to be tough to make your way through the field, but if anyone's making it look easy, it's the 63 of Keith Rich, looking to get back-to-back top 5s, keep up that top 10 streak. He's yet to win a race this season, but if anyone maybe has a shot to take down Zoerlein in this championship, it could be this 63 car.
Yeah, but if Zoerlein gets a win here, that's big. We talked about wins the second being big. A win to 8th or 7th, that'd be a big move for Zoerlein. Oskin's pushing the pressure on as well.
Ace Rogers right there behind the 22 in 8th. Kev Shearer 9th. Dylan Young in 10th now over Peter Onjak. So Onjak falling outside the top 10.
Really tough lap there for Sanford. He lost about 4/10. Let's see if he can gain some of that back.
And Zoerlein is starting to pull out of the draft, which is not good for Charles. I believe it could be 11 to 13. The more I think about it, I want to say this track hosted a truck race recently for another league, and it was, I want to say, with the clouds out, with the cloud cover, it was about 10 to 12, 10 to 13 on fuel. So with the sun out, I want to say it could be 11 to 13, might be closer to 12 to 14. It's going to be close, I think, on these cars making it one pit stop, but we will get our answer here in a couple of laps.
Is just cooking in those right-hand corners, man. He's saving the tires. The left is where he's struggling. That's where Sanford makes time, but I think he might be out of draft distance. We'll see.
Yeah,
Very close.
Zoerlein is pulling away. 2.5 tenths that time by. Seth Cole is going to take 3rd back from Turner on entry. Keith was looking to challenge Flickinger again, but was unable to make any headway.
Wide job right there. That was actually kind of nice.
So it's Red Bull leading the way with the 2 Coca-Cola machines in 2nd and 3rd. Keith Rich is still trying to find the way by Zach Flickinger. As Peter Ojak has made it back by Dylan Young for 10th place. Logan York has started to lose draft from Lucas Catano. As Baranauskas and Vince Freeze are slowly getting closer together. I believe the 12 is catching the 7. So we are on lap 10, and we are not going to see anybody pit just yet, so I'm going to lean closer towards that 12 to 14 pit window. As Keith Rich just flew by Zach Flickinger. And that moves the 63 up into the top 5. Well, I'll say this, Vince, even if Zoerlein wins the race today and Keith Rich doesn't gain any points, he's putting a good case for him to be second in the standings at the very least. As Ace Rogers just put an aggressive move on Samet Oskin there into turn 1. About made contact with the 22.
Yeah.
Coming into this race, Ace Rogers was, if I can find him, 21st in the points. He's just got one top 10 to show for himself so far in this season.
Yeah, I was going to say the in-laps and out-laps matter here. You see it, we'll see it on pit road entry. It's a little bit different. You got to slow down a little bit into the paint, and then you got to transition into 2 different types of compounds of asphalt versus paint grip. That'll be interesting, and that pit road exit, man, is the most interesting on the whole calendar. You got to go really slow, especially on cold tires, and they might be coming in the way it's swerving.
Let's go up to Jonathan Zoerlein. His lead has actually shrunk back down to 1.17 seconds past few laps. Turner still racing Seth Cole hard here for 3rd. As Oskin is looking to take 6th away from Zach Flickinger, and it looks like he will do just that. Zoerlein pulls back away about half a tenth there. Seth Cole on the bumper of Jesse Turner there. A little tap into turn 1, trying to set up another pass. Can't quite get it done. Zach Flickinger will hold off Samet Oskin for 6th. And Onjak putting in big work here to hold off Dylan Young. Jessica Shelton has started to ease back there in 11th. Bradley Ream has just made it up to 15th place. Richard Johnson has fallen to 18th. Ellison is up to 19th. Vargas down to 20th. Not really seeing any movers going on here. You can see the damage to the 12 car here. 120 lap time that time by. Audra, no apparent damage. All right, so let's see. Lap 12 out of 27. Will Zoerlein bring it to pit road this time by? The answer is no. So one stop indeed, Vince. So I think if you undercut as the race leader, you're looking pretty good. You'll pull out of the draft there, but I wonder if you want to maybe wait one more lap so that you're on lap 14. It's kind of tricky, right? When you have an odd numbered lap race, there's no even second run here. It's going to be, you're either doing the 13-14, the 14-13, or the 15-12, I believe is going to be the case here.
Yeah, with breakpoint being, like you said, that 13.5, there is really no even odd number. If I'm Zoerlein, I come in this next lap, lap 14, and just manage the pace. I don't think you really need to go harder than it already is. There's some people in.
Allison Liera has decided to pit first. She was outside the top 20, so I think a great call here by the 6 team. Maybe going to pull a 12-15. Or if they're short, this will send them to the very back. But looking at Zoerlein's lap time, 3 seconds of fall off.
I don't know if you come in. Now that Allison came in, you could theoretically make it to the end. Someone will probably go 50. There it is.
There we go. Zoerlein's going to pit. Looks like Sanford will follow him in. Keith Rich is going to be the first one to stay out. I feel like that's the call. I feel like that's the championship call you have to make with the championship leader pitting.
Well, I think Keith saw it too. You don't want to be in that stack up. You're going to see it right here. You see the stack. Everyone's in. Feeding time at the zoo.
See, Audra's going to close back up on the pack because of this, as will the 12 of Vince Freeze. We'll see how much damage they need to fix. Did anyone else stay out with Keith Rich? Bradley Ream, RJ Bishop elected to stay out. So Ream was 15th and RJ was 23rd. I think they will benefit from this. And then some.
The pit exit.
So Zoerlein, first one out. Is that nice pit exit you mentioned, Vince? We'll hit the camera here. See Sanford, Seth Cole, Samet Oskin. Ooh, that was a pretty bad exit. Sharp corner here. Turner losing a couple of positions. There's Liera. She's going to gain a ton of time. Zach Flickinger lost a ton of track position. Alexander Rowe. Ace Rogers is down the running order, as is Jessica Shelton. So the pit crews either coming in big or not coming in big at all. Shelton actually had 7 seconds worth of damage to fix. See Audra with 5. The 44 of Andrew Rich. A lot of people had long pit stops. I'm not sure
York.
what the deal is there. A lot of people with long pit stops. Curious to say the least. But Keith Rich, Bradley Ream, RJ Bishop, they're going to come in. You see Liera here is now sandwiched between the 55 and the 24. Now, this is where Cole Tyres can be a little sketchy. So Liera gets right up to the bumper of Kev Shearer. So I'm not sure why Vargas, York, and Andrew Rich had long pit stops. Maybe they had damage I could not see. So we will have to wait and see what the dealio was with that. Keith Rich, bit of a slow stop for the team, but no damage on his car. As Charles Sanford is way off into the paint. Oh, a lot of cars off into the paint. Liera's off. That could be a cold tire byproduct right there. A lot of drivers really wide here in turn 1.
Rich might come out in 4th, 5th. He's definitely stayed top 5, I think.
RJ Bishop in a good position. I believe he got a couple spots. We'll have to wait and see how many to be exact. I think Ream came out pretty much where he was, which is, I think, a good gain for him because he'll have draft here. He'll be able to make up some spots. Liera jumped up, I want to say, 10 positions. And then there's Keith. He's behind Oskin, Sanford, Seth Cole, and Zoerlein is gone.
This has to be a 6-second lead. Wait for timing and scoring to refresh here. But what can you say? Zoerlein just has really good turn, especially on the right-handers. The clockwise corners, there's a battle for second there. He really knows how to get it done, save those tires, but he will suffer at the end of the run because he is pushing that right side.
3.5 seconds after Sanford went really wide there on the previous lap. Seth Cole's about going to clip the paint this lap. So Keith Rich remains in the top 5. And when the fall off really kicks in, he should start to move forward away from the draft of the cars behind them. You see Peter Onjak up to 6th, Kev 7th, Liera all the way up to 8th from, I want to say, 22nd place. Dylan Young is 9th. Turner fell to 10th. Ellison up to 11th. Sam Young 12th. Flickinger down to 13th. Bradley Ream, as I said, pretty much stayed where he was in 14th place. Rob Evans 15th. Catano up to 16th. Yepes 17th. Hamill 18th. RJ gained a handful of spots, so not as much as I thought he would. He is 20th. You see Richard fell to 23rd. Ace Rogers, Jessica Shelton, Brock Chung. Baranowski's back up to 28th now. Andrew Rich is 29th. Vargas 30th, Logan York 31st, and then Vince Freeze in 32nd. So some of these cars have damage. We can't really see it because these cars don't really dent. But when we take a look at replays, I'm sure we will get a good picture of what happened. Ooh, bit of a send there by James Ellison and some contact with Jesse Turner. That'll put Ellison up to 10th place.
Yeah, James Ellison's been a menace all year, but you mentioned the great points. I think Rich has a possibility for second place today. Turner's going to slide her in there. A little revenge there, but I think he can get to second. I think the tires are going to start to wear. He's got an extra lap fresher. I think second's possible.
So right now, Keith Rich is 7.25 seconds behind race leader Jonathan Zoerlein. Onjak was challenging him there on that opening lap. You can see with the draft, Peter kind of gains on him on the straightaway, but Keith is pulling away in the corner.
Keith is really good on that right side of the car. Soskin's struggling just a little bit, but now that Keith's tires are warmed up, we should be good. Can second and third sort this out to catch Zoerlein, but with them out of draft range and how strong Zoerlein is on the right side, they got to really use the tires up on this first part of the run to have any chance. I just don't think they're going to have enough time.
Looking at the lap times from last time by, Oskin was the fastest out of the top 5 by a couple tenths over Zoerlein as well. But this time by, he is half a second slower. So Zoerlein kicking it back up to a 1:16.9. And I just think it's Zoerlein's race to lose. Keith Rich really the only one kind of close on him right now. Bradley Reams setting his fastest lap of the race, a 1:16.832. RJ Bishop now in 19th, trying to move forward. I think Bradley Ream has a good shot of going as high up as where Keith Rich is, depending how he can use his tires to his advantage. And then Keith Rich, I want to say, has a pretty good shot at second place here, depending how the fall off occurs with his tires and if any setup changes were made throughout the field.
He can't shake Peter, though. Peter's still being aggressive there on the back bumper.
Peter with a bit of a better corner there, I want to say. Right up to the bumper of Keith Rich.
Yeah, he's going to look a little approved fade. There he is. Going to go on the outside. Now use a little side draft as well.
Keith will hold him off here, though, at the start-finish line. That time by, Keith Rich closing in on Jonathan Zoerlein.
He's got to get through the roadblocks of Oskin and the Coca-Cola cars to have any chance, though. That's the thing. Catching is one thing, passing another for sure.
Seeing Allison Liera starting to be a bit of a holdup here for drivers like Ellison and Turner. Obviously, we know Liera pit first. Question number 1 is, can she make it on fuel? I want to say she probably can, but it'll be close. Could see her pit at 2 to go if she indeed cannot. And then if she can make it, the second question would be is how far will she drop? Looking back to Diego Yepes, that is 17th place. I think she would have a good shot of finishing at least 17th. And she was running 22nd when she pit. So a good net gain on the strategy call, pitting on a empty pit road. As Turner and Ellison are fighting it out for 10th once more, and Turner's going to take it.
What can you say about Zoerlein, though, man? If he finishes this off 4 for 5 in the top 5 and 10 category, 40% if he gets the win here today, 2 out of 5, that's crazy.
And I don't think there's enough time for Keith Rich to close the distance, Vince, but that time by, Keith Rich closed 7/10 of a second on the 83.
I think he can get the second. That's probably as far as he can go.
Tire fall off has kicked in now. He is driven away from Peter Onjak. See that time by 1:17.3 to a 1:17.8. And then everyone in front of him are running 9s. Seth Cole and Sanford continue to battle it out for second place. That's a 6-point difference there between second and third. So something for them to be worth fighting for. No changes in the running order. No new incidents that I can see. It'll be 7 laps to go this time by. You can see the grip difference right here between Keith Rich and Sametta Oskin. Seth Cole continuing to fend off Charles Sanford. You can see another 6/10 for Keith Rich over race leader Zoerlein that time by. I think it's just going to depend on where Keith goes to make his moves here, but he should be able to get second place pretty easy. As Kev Shearer, he's made a move on Onjak for 6th. And so far, Liera is still in ninth. Actually, Liera's back up to ninth. I think we had an incident. Jesse Turner has disappeared.
Was it Ellison again?
There it is, the 97 and the 5. They have lost a ton of position. They were 10th and 11th. They are now outside the top 20.
James Ellison this year has just not been consistent at all, man. Wrecking people or involved in accidents. Not a good season so far.
Trying to see if anybody else fell way back. No, that is not the case. Zoerlein still just cruising by himself. So another thing to think about, Vince, you know, you mentioned being 2 for 5 on the season, but 2 for 2 on the road courses for Zoerlein if he pulls this off.
Instead of ways, road courses.
2nd to 5th place are in a line. So Oskin being caught by Keith Rich has kind of let Oskin catch Sanford and Seth Cole. And now this is where it's going to get tricky for Keith because we know he has the tire advantage, but now he's last of a 4-car draft line. So he's really going to have to send it into the corners, get that mid-corner speed down if he's going to make any gains here on these 3 in front of him. So I think
you got to use. Go for it.
I think definitely the win out of the picture unless Zoerlein has a mechanical issue. But 2nd place should be an easy goal here if he can just get the right moves down.
Yeah, you got to get the grip on acceleration in Sector 1 where it's those stop-and-go corners. That's where the tires matter. These fast-flowing, these guys can hang in for sure in Sector 2, 3, and 4.
So that drama between Turner and Ellison, which we will look at later once the race is over, that has moved Zach Flickinger back inside the top 10. As Charles Sanford puts a move on Seth Cole for 2nd place, and this could be the setup Keith Rich needs. And Keith Rich will make a move to the left side of Samet Oskin for 4th.
Yeah, Seth does a little slide job. Keith's going to send in the brakes. Side by side still 2 rows deep. We'll see what happens. To the left-hander we go now. Tires are going to be squealing.
Seth,
Looks like Seth, yep, you got it clear.
Seth Cole will hold on for 2nd place here. Keith Rich with the advantage, but on the wider line right now. Can he get a good run?
At the draft right now, but then he'll swing back over to Oskin's way. Just a little bit. Keith's going to get a nice acceleration off this
And
little
he
kink,
clears.
and there it is.
Up to 4th goes the 63 of Keith Rich. Now he'll set his sights on Charles Sanford and Seth Cole. As you can see him start to gap the 22 there through that turn. We're still waiting to see what'll happen to Liera. Sam Young is so close to her back bumper that I couldn't even see his car there for a second. Oh, look at the dive. Speaking of tires, Bradley Ream now up to 12th place. And RJ Bishop, look at RJ back there in the distance. He has made his way up to 16th place.
Like Turner got around Ellison. I don't see him back there.
Sam Young will pass Liera for 9th. And Ream should have a pretty good chance here at getting 10th. He's got 2 laps over Liera on tires. Yeah, you can just see the difference there under braking. Gonna have to push wide there to not run into her. Now Zach Flickinger's on the prowl here, looking to get a position back from the 19. But Ream gets the run there. He'll hold on to 11th place. It's Keith Rich now to the right side of Charles Sanford for 3rd.
He should secure it in this braking section if he goes deep.
Yep.
What a send.
Pretty easy move right there. Now just got to get 2nd place away from Seth Cole. You can see Zoerlein there in the distance, but with 3 laps to go, it might just be too little too late. A 5-second gap right now from the 83 to the 63.
That's a little wide. This could be a chance, but no, he tucks it back in well.
Liera still holding on to 10th place. We're still waiting to see if the 6 will need to pit. I think if she does, it's going to be this time by Vince. I don't foresee her needing to pit coming to the white flag. But you do burn a lot of fuel around here despite the kind of shorter distance for a road course. So maybe would need a 1-lap splash, but we will see for sure here, I think, this time by.
And the only way you can really save fuel here is to be in draft. Lay off the brakes, lay off the throttle a little bit at the exit of the straightaway. That was really the only way to save fuel here. Battle for second heating up, and third.
Ooh, and Oskin, I think, about was going to turn Charles there. He was almost on the red paint.
That was weird.
Keith Rich is going to make a last-second move here into the final corner and take second place away from Seth Cole.
I'm going to fight back, though. This ain't over yet.
Coming to 2 laps to go. Side by side here for second. Into turn 1 they will go. Keith should have the preferred run here, though, off the corner. And there it is. Move Keith Rich up to second place. So the top 2 in points. Looking to finish 1-2 here at the racetrack. Liera still on the track, but now down to 11th place. Bradley Ream up to 10th. It's now Sanford looking on the inside of Seth Cole for 3rd, but can't get it to bite. And now Bradley Ream looking to take 9th place away from Sam Young. That would be 2 more points for his day. RJ Bishop in 16th, I think, is just not going to have enough time to catch Diego Yepes and put up a challenge for a top 15 effort. So you see Ellison now, Vince, he's down to 28th. Turner 21st.
Something else might have happened, I think, because I saw something. I don't know, it was puff of smoke, but someone went really wild. I'll have to check that again. But here we go, buddy. White flag coming out in a couple seconds for Jonathan Zoerlein. What can you say?
Kev Shear on the right side of Peter Onjak. This is a battle for 6th place. Liera stays on the track, so I guess she is good to go. Going to be a pretty good net gain for her from where she was running. Onjak holds off Kev there for the position. So everyone is chasing Keith Rich here. He's the closest driver to them. But Jonathan Zoerlein, what can you say? Started up at the front. Got to the race lead in a couple of laps. Never looked back. It'll be Zoerlein's 2nd win of the season. It'll extend his points lead over Keith Rich. If Keith stays in 2nd place, that'll make it a 38-point lead over Keith. With 3 races remaining. Pukekohe next week in New Zealand. Going to be crazy, as always. Road 1 will definitely be Strategy City. And then Papyrus, High Speed, High Draft. Strategy going to matter there as well, but draft is going to matter just as much. But coming through the final corners here, Zoerlein will be 2 for 2 on the road courses this season. He'll get his 2nd career win, becoming the 4th driver to do so in series history. And off the final corner, it's Jonathan Zoerlein winning in Dubai. Going to be a drag race there for 6th between Onjak and Kev. Onjak will take it. Oh, and Liera's pitting right coming to the checkered flag. The start-finish line's right there.
Where's their pit stall? That's going to be big.
And it's going to be 22nd, which was where she was when she had pitted the first time. I can't believe she couldn't make it couple hundred more feet. That's a shame.
Yeah, that shows you this track. But congrats to the Red Bull of Jonathan Zoerlein. He was like a charging bull all day. Big win for that team. And what can you say about Keith Rich, man? 2nd in points. I guess 1-2 in points. That's pretty rare. You never see that always.
Yeah, it's been I think it's been a minute since I've seen that here for the NRSL series. Without further ado, let's go take a look at our incidents of the day. Taking a look at the first incident involving Vince Freeze. And this is going to be an incident under the braking zone. And he's going to get tagged by the 16, I believe it is, of Derek Hamill. See the car starting to turn there as they go around the buildings. Let's get a different angle on this. There we go. There you see the 16 completely just dump Vince Freeze there. Checks up the 16. He keeps going. And then Vince's car is going to back it into the tires here. Very slow back in. Only a 20-mile-an-hour hit. But pretty much derailed Vince's race from the get-go. So a tough break for him. Next incident occurred 2 laps later. This is going to be right on the exit of the final corner. You're going to see Logan York just kind of send it on the inside of Audra Baranowskis. Just going to barely get into the right rear quarter panel. And then as the camera transitions there, you see the car tip up, lose grip. And Audra just kind of gets pushed around here. No damage to the 7. Just a good old spin. This is the 2-for-1 special here. Watch the 88 of Sam Young there, that UPS Ford. He's going to send it here into turn 1 on James. Ellison pulls out at the last second. Ellison starts turning in. Sam gets into him. He's going to just run him over, dump him out of the way, and then Turner, an innocent bystander. Both cars get spun out into the paint and lose a good amount of track positions. Sam Young went on to finish in the top 10. So, Sam Young, James Ellison rivalry here maybe in the next race. That's going to be it for us here today in Dubai. We'll see you guys in New Zealand at Phuket Kohei for 26 laps of action. Should be a crazy race as always. See you guys then.
Sign off.